Welcome everybody to the Power Half Hour. My name is Debbi Sanzo-Davis, and I am here today with our co-host Andrea Begent. Hi, Andrea.
Happy
Dorothy
to be
Holterman.
Hello.
Kimberly Petrosino.
Hi.
And Lori Tidwell.
Hello.
And our first special guest today is Suzy Harmon. Hi, Suzy.
Hi, everybody.
And we do have another guest joining us today, and that's Abby Mason. We're having a few little internet issues with her connection, so hopefully we can get her on in just a few minutes. So we're hoping Abby can join us. So today's subject is Busy Moms, a Balancing Act. And I just love this subject because many of us have been and are busy moms. And so I love the idea of having a panel that is just kind of a cross-section of everything. So I wanted to open up our show, just everyone talking a little bit about what their experience has been. And for a couple on our panel, they haven't raised a family yet. And for the rest of us, we have, and our children are older now. So I wanted to just start by telling you quickly my take on it. I was with American Airlines for 30 years. I have two children. They're grown now, one in high school and one graduated from college. And I must admit, I did not balance it very well at all. And so it was a lovely time, and I loved everything about it. But by the time I finished with my 30 years, I was pretty tired, overweight, and so my book, Weighed Down, up here in the corner. In fact, I'm going to show you the picture, because by the time I left American, I was extremely weighed down. That's me, the day I left. And I weighed 205 pounds, and I felt like I weighed 205 pounds. Today, I can tell you I weigh 135, and that's because I've learned how to take care of myself. And so I wanted to just mention that and start with our panel here. Andrea, can you tell us where you are in the journey of
Yes, I'm excited to. So I am an expectant mom, so I am really excited to apply everything that I've learned and to nourish myself with love, because I know the baby in the womb will feel that. And as when the baby arrives and I get to hold the baby, that nourishment will continue. I think it trickles down to them. So I am practicing what I preach by meditating every morning, and by preparing meals ahead and meal planning ahead of time so that I can nourish myself with clean and organic and healthy food, as well as incorporating exercise into my day. And I know everyone says that you're never really ready to be a mom, so I'm doing my best, but I'm really trying to be flexible, knowing that I'm going to have to be flexible when a child arrives. So whether I'm exercising at the gym, or I'm taking a walk, or I'm doing an activity with my husband, I'm really just trying to stay positive, stay focused, and balanced.
I'm so happy for you, Andrea, and the fact that you have so much knowledge before you've even started your family. Oh my goodness. I just wish I had half the knowledge that you've got at your fingertips. So
I'm excited. I hope the baby knows how much love I'm trying to.
You're gonna have a few hundred health coaches helping you along the way. Don't be too intimidated. Kimberly, I'm going to go to you next because you're a totally different place in your life. Tell us where you are.
I'm at a totally different place in my life. First of all, couldn't be more excited for you, Andrea. You're going to be an amazing, glowing, healthy mom. I'm not a mom, but I feel really blessed to have gone through my sort of health journey before having a family and being able to learn from all of you, so that hopefully when the time does come for me, maybe I'll be at a little bit of an advantage, and hopefully taking these years to really take control of my own health and take care of myself, I'll be able to balance that out a little bit better when I am taking care of a family and having all of those added responsibilities. And hopefully I'll be able to translate what I've learned for myself into taking care of a family. And I'm really, really excited to hear what all the moms in the room have to share tonight.
Absolutely, and no doubt, again, you are definitely at an advantage because you do have so much knowledge, and that's such a wonderful place to be for sure. Dorothy.
Okay, so I have to say that I cooked a lot all through raising my children. I had a child with cystic fibrosis. I had a husband that was sick for quite a few years. So I definitely understood that food was medicine. Unfortunately, in those days, they still, were telling us that we can eat all these grains and bread. And I did the whole wheat pasta thing. We still ate a lot of cheese. We didn't have milk, which was a good thing for my daughter with cystic fibrosis, but I gave her way, way too much cheese for her. So while I was insisting we were eating healthy, we were showing lots of signs that our food was not working for us. So I guess my biggest tip is that, it doesn't matter what people say. You really have to see how you feel. I kept gaining more and more weight. I winded up being 240 pounds before I got to the fact that I really had to reevaluate the way I was feeding us all, but especially me and my daughter still had tons of mucus. So, we just had to remember that yes, eat whole foods, but sometimes even some whole foods are not foods for us at certain times in our lives.
Yeah, how true, how true. And the fact that you cooked a lot when you were, raising your family, that's so important. I mean, yeah, we didn't know what we know now, and so maybe we did go for different types of foods, but just the fact that you were cooking, oh my goodness, I'm amazed at how many people do takeout, instead of just preparing something. So
well, we did takeout too. I mean, we did a lot of takeout, but I did a lot of cooking.
Good for you. Good for you. How about you, Lori?
Oh, the short version is that I too did a lot of cooking. I was the oldest of 7 children, so I cooked. I knew how to cook everything. I was a great cook. I'm the mother of 4 boys. My youngest is now 18, and so, but I had challenging pregnancies, challenging deliveries, premature babies, all of those kinds of things, low birth weight babies. So, and I look back and I thought I used to be a personal trainer. When I had about 2 children, they were younger. And so I thought I was eating really healthy and doing all those things right. But it really turns out I wasn't doing as well as I could have. And, I was trying to wear the big S on my chest, the big I'm super everything. I'm good at everything. I'm good at all things. And I was the PTA president of the junior high school. And at the same time, I was on the board at the elementary school and on the state level and on the regional level. And I was working and I was part-time, and I was trying to manage 4 children, 4 boys, and I just was running around like a crazy woman, taking care of church callings that I had and a bunch of other things. And I look back now and go, oh my gosh, I don't wonder why I manifest disease. I went, of course I manifested that. Something had to get my attention and slow me down. And so the MS really kind of took on a life of its own and buried me to the point where I was dysfunctional as a mother, dysfunctional as a wife, dysfunctional as a human being, I felt like, and led me into a depression that was pretty gnarly. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that I would do differently. Could I go back? But I can't go back. So I go, wow, this is what I did. And this is how I can do better now. And so now I know better, I do better. And that's really all of us can do. And I don't, so it's like I just think take off the S off your chest and start, just taking the baby steps and taking care of yourself. When I started to take care of myself, I realized that wasn't selfish, that was actually more selfless because I was able to take care of my family. When I wasn't taking care of myself and trying to be everything for everybody else, it drove me off into a ditch.
Super mom, I mean, that's what everybody kind of strives to be, but there is a thing called balance, and we have to just kind of work on getting that for sure.
Lori, I love that you said that you need to put yourself first in order to be there to show up for your family. I feel like that's important, and I'm really gonna try to practice that because I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
How about you, Suzy? Yeah, we're going to get a little bit more in depth with you in a minute, but just briefly tell us where you are in your journey with your family.
Well, right now where I'm at in my journey is I have one still at home, my daughter. She's a high school senior. And my boys are out of the house. One is in college and one has already graduated college. So I'm getting a second chance to fix my wrongs with before she leaves home. But I'll share a little bit more about my story in a minute with you.
Perfect. And I see that Abby joined us. Thank you, Abby. I'm so glad that your connection finally worked out for you. Goodness, goodness. So we were just talking a little bit about where we all were in our journeys with kids, if we had them. And tell us quickly, and we're going to get back a little bit more with you, but tell us what your story is.
I am, can you see me?
Yeah, sure can. Perfectly.
Okay, good, because technology doesn't like me today.
No, we're good. We're good.
A lot of deep breaths. I am mom to 4 girls, ages 25, 16, 13, and 9. I got married very young and only was married for 2 years. So I had a young daughter and I was a single mom at a very young age, and I had to make a better life for she and I. And so I got into real estate and I worked night and day. There was no downtime. And I literally was exhausted. But I knew that I had to keep working hard to, take care of both of us. I was fortunate enough to meet my now husband. We've been married for 20 years. And then we were fortunate enough to have some more children, some more girls. The real estate really did take a lot out of me. And when we went and I delivered our first daughter together, they wheeled me into the recovery room. And the first thing I did was pick up the phone and start returning phone calls for real estate, giving sellers feedback and asking for feedback. And this continued for about another year. When we would go on vacation, I would sit on the beach and just work. There was no downtime. I had no self-care. I was just, my glass was definitely half empty, and quickly the liquid inside was evaporating. And I realized that something needed to change, because eventually with the cup empty, I cannot help anyone else. So it was when our second daughter together, my third daughter, was born, that I really focused on my nutrition and making sure I was moving my body every week, doing something. And so I really learned, I stopped doing the fad diets, and I really learned what worked for my body. And then we were fortunate enough to have our 4th child, our daughter, and it's been a journey. I've gone through different phases. I did real estate for 10 years. So when my oldest was 10 and my youngest was 1, and I was feeling depressed and run down, and I spent many hours talking to my husband about what would be the best thing for our family. And we both decided that for me to stay at home. So I've had the extremely working mom time as a single mom, and then I've done the stay-at-home mom, which is, any stay-at-home mom knows that's a lot of work, and it can be very lonely and a little unrewarding at times. And I think that's more the way I made myself feel. My husband was very supportive. And then now that when my oldest graduated from college and my youngest went off to 1st grade, I said, you know what? It's time for me to grow up and do something I love. And so the health coaching has come into play. And so now I'm back to being a working mom again. My husband
Abby, hold on 1 minute there, because I want to get into what the remedy to all of this is, okay? Because obviously we had a full panel of people that have been through a lot. So hold those thoughts, because I do, first of all, I do want to introduce you and Suzy both, and because I know our audience, they're not as familiar with you, and then I'm going to get right back with you. So just keep those thoughts there. So everyone, I want you to just see Suzy Harmon is the author of Hungry for Health, Starved for Time. And it's the busy person's guide to harmonious health. And so it pretty much covers everything we're talking about here. And Abby, I first met Abby a few years ago when she wrote her first book. and it's a children's book. So it's Paulina, the Picky Princess, and the Magic Garden, and it's lovely. It's really lovely, the illustrations in the story. But then Abby went on recently to publish a book on wellness. So this is recently published, Passionate Wellness, and both of these are available on Amazon. So I invited both ladies to join us today because I knew that they had pretty much been through the full spectrum of what we've been talking about. And perhaps Abby may have caught it a little bit sooner, which I think is a nice thing. But nonetheless, she had a little bit of a struggle too. So I want to take it back to Abby first. And Suzy, we're going to get to you in just a minute. But Abby, you talked about having the 4 daughters, which is awesome. 4 girls, oh my goodness. And, you know, and just everything you've been through. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that transition time where, you know, you were on your 3rd daughter, you knew something wasn't quite right. You know, what were the signals and what did you do?
Initially, I started to become depressed after my 3rd daughter was born. The weight wasn't coming off. You know, the low-fat diet wasn't working for me. I wasn't feeling energized. I kind of felt stuck. I knew what I needed to do, but I just couldn't seem to take the steps to make it happen. So I really got frustrated, got depressed. It was like this constant wheel that just kept going around. And, you know, I found myself sitting on the couch in my sweats. So I finally kicked my butt off the couch and decided, I actually picked up the South Beach diet. I thought, well, the food in this way of eating really, you know, resonates with me. I like a lot of lean protein, but my body needs a lot of lean animal proteins, quality animal proteins. I love vegetables. I don't eat a lot of fruit. I do eat a lot of vegetables. And so I picked it up and I was able to drop the baby weight very quickly. I felt like I had a lot of energy, but I knew that just diet wasn't enough. So I enlisted the help of a personal trainer. And I think when you're on a path to try to figure out what is, you know, when you're getting your body moving again and you're going to stay healthy, enlisting someone to help you, whether it's a personal trainer or a coach, a friend, anyone to hold you accountable, that was really, really key for me, is to have him. And he really worked with me on not jumping the gun and jumping all in. Oh, I need to lose this fast. He took me in baby steps. And so definitely between diet and exercising regularly, I felt better about myself. I threw the sweats away because I didn't want anyone else to wear them.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, you talk a little bit, and I've heard you say about getting your mama mojo back. And so what I'd love for you to do is share just a few very simple tips. Obviously, getting a trainer is one direction. What's just a few simple tips that someone can do? They found themselves they're a young mom, they're tired. Tell me what you would recommend.
Okay, well, I think sleep is a big part of it. And obviously I've been through the lack of sleep. When your body's when you're lacking in sleep, your body really suffers. So my biggest tips are, you know, try to do your best to get the best amount of sleep you can. And if you are a new mama and you haven't heard of the book Baby Wise, I highly recommend that. I've had my 2nd daughter was not on a schedule. She ran the house with her schedule. So one tip is a schedule. And so if you don't have a calendar or you don't have some way where you're tracking, you know, what you're doing during your day and getting your priorities on the calendar, I think you really should. I think that's really important, is to schedule time for self-care on the calendar so you get it done, as well as your exercise. When you're a new mom, the last person you're taking care of is yourself. Yeah. And I think as far as keeping your balance and keeping up with what's going on in your life, definitely incorporating self-care every week. And then another tip that has been helping me is planning ahead on the weekends. Now my daughters with their ages, our schedules are everywhere. I mean, I just came from a tennis match and I had to feed the younger 2 first and then get to the tennis match, come back, but I was prepared. I had everything prepared ahead of time. I knew what the week's schedule looked like ahead of time. And so I shop on Saturday, we prep on Sunday. And I make sure that the crock pot and the brown rice cooker are set on the counter, ready to go every day if we're going to get home late. And that way, when the kids are like, "Oh, let's go here for dinner," well, it's already in the crock pot. So, and then again, enlisting help when you need help, when you're exhausted, and you could use help with someone helping you with groceries, a friend, a parent. I think those are really my top tips for keeping your mom and throw those sweats away.
Yeah. Oh, Abby, that's awesome.
You know what?
For sure. You got to feel good about yourself.
Every day, dress yourself every day.
Yes.
Even if you're sitting on the couch feeding the baby, dress yourself every day. And you'll feel proud. And your children will look up to you and be like, "I want to be just like mommy." So
there you go. Thank you so much, Abby. Oh my goodness. And we'll definitely talk more about being mom to little ones in the upcoming episodes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and stay with us because we're going to do a Q&A at the end. Suzy, so you had a juggling act. You came out of New York, crazy financial world. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Okay, well, I worked in the crazy rat race of New York City as a CPA, and I'm gonna describe what I call my kitchen island scenario. So I would pull into the garage, walk out with the 3 kids, my work bag on one shoulder, the kids' backpacks on the other shoulder, and like all the grocery bags on my wrist, because I don't know why we always feel like we have to make one trip with all those groceries. Why? I don't know. And then put everything down, and inevitably the phone would ring immediately, and the dog started barking, and I would see the pile of mail with that big bill on the top that you didn't want to get, and then I would turn around and the orange juice from breakfast that nobody could put into the sink would tip over, and what would happen, and this what I'm describing, this is the scenario in every household across America, but the difference is some people are dealing with it one way and some people are dealing with another way. And my way was to try to just take control because that's what I did at work. And I can picture this vividly. The first thing I would do would be to put up the pot of coffee at 5 in the afternoon. That is the worst thing I could have been doing for my body. But I thought that I needed that to plow through, to get, the kids to bathe and get to bed. And then while I would be preparing dinner, I'd be munching on like these heavy processed gluten-filled pretzels and all this garbage, which I now know that if I just cut celery and have greens in the fridge, I could grab on that and chew on that while I'm preparing dinner. So I've since learned. And, in preparing for this interview tonight, I was thinking last night, I was driving home with my daughter, the route I have taken with my kids for the past 20 years. Well, I mean, I've been, not my oldest 20 years. And there was this most magnificent sunset. So my daughter and I pulled over, got out of the car, and we were photographing the sunset. And I thought to myself, why didn't I ever do that back then? Because I was just trying to get through the day. So I think my, biggest eye opener for new moms and any mom and anyone really, not even, you don't even have to be a mom. It's just this mindfulness of notice what's going on around you and notice your surroundings. Our culture really needs to renegotiate our relationship with our busyness. When you ask someone how they are, it's kind of like when they say I'm busy, it's kind of like they're boasting, but it's like disguised as a complaint, but it's really a boast in some cases. And I wish we could, in our society, value stillness.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, if somebody answered and said, I have absolutely nothing to do, they look at you like, oh, you must be bored.
Yeah, or there's this feeling of insecurity, like if you're not constantly busy, then maybe there probably sometimes is some underlying issue that you maybe don't want to deal with or, get involved with. And I think
when somebody reaches this point where now obviously you've learned to appreciate the moments, my goodness, which is an awesome thing to realize. But someone who is in the middle of this, they're in the thick of it, their kids might be a little bit older, they're having these days of total chaos. What can they do? Give them something that might be a transition, an actual transition though.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, step one is the discomfort you're feeling has to be so bad that you're going to want to make a change, right? Because we don't like to make change. Change is really scary and it's really uncomfortable. And that's why so many people don't want to implement what I'm going to tell you. So you have to be in a lot of discomfort. And I was sick of prescription anxiety medications and friends that were telling me I should get on sleep medications. No. So that discomfort was so bad that I said, I'm going to do something. So the things that I found that worked, and let me just start. I'm going to tell you like 4 things, but this is the secret, okay? The secret is that you have to just let things go and just accept good enough in all of the areas I'm going to tell you about. Because if you could be good enough in all of these different areas consistently, then you will feel amazing and great. So the first area is in the area of food. And Abby so nicely described, the prepping your food, increasing the amount of greens in your diet, roast a big tray of vegetables on Sunday morning and prepare that. Stay hydrated. That's your food. Now you have your mind, okay? And all the things. You have to get to a place where you're still. Because when we're still, we can connect to that part of us. I think a lot of people refer to it as your intuition. And it's only when you're in that place of intuition that you can see what you need to do in your life and make certain sort of changes that need to happen. The third one is look at your friendships. Okay, at my stage, a lot of my friends are friends I made when my kids were younger because they had play dates. But maybe those friendships are, you have to look at them. Are they working for you? Are they bringing positivity into your life? Are they the right friends for you? And I think going back to the busyness, that's why so many people love to be busy, because maybe they are having a relationship issue and they just don't want to deal with it. So it's easier if we just stay busy. And then the fourth one is just to always find a way to move your body, but in a way that is not negotiable, okay? So you'll do it every day because you love it. And it looks different for you than it does for me. Maybe for me, it's running. Maybe for you, it's light stretching and yoga. Maybe for a mom with a new baby, it's just taking a walk and pushing the carriage. But what I see people trip up is when they get too intense in one area. So for example, a mom finally has, her life and her kids are out of the house and now she's like, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to work out every day. Well, now they go uber focused on their workouts, but maybe now don't have time to cook because they're so busy with their job and they're working out and they neglect their nutrition. Or I've seen people do the reverse. They get crazy with their diet and they're afraid to go out for dinner and socialize with people because it's not their special healthy prepared food. So, my business name is Harmonious Health, and it's a play on my last name, Harmon, but I really love it because it's harmonious, meaning all of these components have to be in balance. And I think as women, we hold the bar really super high. We want to be perfect with our beautiful organized homes, and our meals have to be extravagant. And no, you can make a vegetarian chili with a few ingredients, have your kids around the table laughing and smiling, and that's awesome. So my tip would be accept good enough, but do it consistently in all these different areas to create balance and harmony in your life. And that's what's worked for me. And I feel great now, and I'm just very passionate about teaching as many people as I can, especially corporate people with busy jobs, how to do this.
Very well said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, my volume seems to be coming back. Hang on. Let me see if I can fix these, everyone. Okay. I'm going to go just down the row here. It's getting a little late. Lori, can you share your tip with us? Just something, one.
Okay. when you wake up in the morning and you go into your bathroom or wherever it is and you see yourself in the mirror, instead of picking out all of your flaws and all the horrible way you look, I want you to say look yourself in the eye in the mirror and find 3 positive things to say about yourself.
I love it.
First thing in the
Very good.
morning.
You can tape them on your mirror too. I like putting things on my mirror. How about you, Kimberly?
My tip is for super busy people, if all you have as far as self-care is 15 minutes to shower, luxuriate in it. Light a candle, play some music. That's precious self-care time. Don't waste it.
I love it. Dorothy, how about you?
Own a wok or a really large fry pan and cook lots of different colors. Cook them all at once. That saved me when I was cooking for my family. I would walk in, just stop madly chopping vegetables. I'd cook half. The others, I used to call them goodies and let the kids just eat them raw. So what they wouldn't eat cooked, they most of the time would eat raw.
Love it. And Andrea, I hope we haven't made you too nervous today about all the mom.
No, this is great. I'm enjoying it.
Good. And what's your tip?
My tip is to nourish yourself with self-love, because like Suzy and Abby have shared, that's going to trickle down to your kids. So even if you don't have kids, now you're setting yourself up for success later, or for other children that are in your life, even if they're not your own.
I love it. And, we wish you all the best blessings with the new baby. And what's the due date again?
January 30th.
All right. Exciting. Winter baby. Abby, we're going to wrap it up with you. What is your tip for the young moms and then those that have the older ones?
It's the self-care. Absolutely make time for self-care and regular exercise. Take care of yourself, and you can take care of others. You'll do a great job.
I love it. I love it, ladies. You've all definitely given some great advice today. I want to just say that it's been an absolute pleasure, and my thought is we can have it all, we just can't do it all. And learn to say no. I've learned that word finally, and it took me a lot of time to learn no. So on that note, I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Next week, and we're going to have questions, so don't go anywhere. We're going to do Q&A with one another here. But next week, we're going to talk about, our show's called Chemically Speaking, and it's going to be about toxic chemicals in our household products and our personal care products. So we hope that you can join us next Thursday. Thank you, everyone.